Following program is rated TV MALV. It contains strong language and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Thank you for coming here today. Can you tell me about your experiences here with Stephen?
I tried to shut out this part of my life with therapy and even hypnosis, but once I heard about the other victims, I felt compelled to speak, even at the risk of my life. Stephen is a monster in sheep's clothing. In the fall of 2012, he killed 4 members of my family. We had moved in about a year and a half prior, and Stephen was by all appearances an ideal neighbor. We invited each other to barbecues, exchanged gifts over the holidays, and I felt as though we were becoming good friends. That all changed in October of 2012. I thought by this time we had a decent rapport, and our conversations became a bit more political. I offhandedly mentioned at a block party that my wife and I were voting for Obama, and that we'd even been canvassing the neighborhood to try and get out the vote. Stephen didn't say much at the time, but looking back, he never quite had the same friendly disposition towards us. Come November, Obama handedly beat Romney, and so we threw a bit of a party to celebrate.
Of course.
Naturally, I invited Stephen, who in hindsight had been a bit distant since the block party, and he volunteered not only to help us prepare, but to allow the party to overflow to his house as well. That night started what became a 72-hour span of the most horrific and brutal and inhumane experience of my entire life. We went to the store to pick up some supplies, and Stephen said he needed to get some gardening tools as well. He came back with a shovel, gloves, rope, trash bags, while I got some food. But his demeanor was different. That whole facade of friendliness had disappeared, and his eyes had a stare to them that I could only describe as pure evil. I should have known then, but I just thought he was having a hard time in life. I awoke bounded to a chair in a windowless room, disoriented, beaten, and blindfolded.
Oh my.
I heard crying, but I was too out of it to even think of who it could be. I went in and out of consciousness for what the detectives later told me was about 24 hours, based on the wounds of my family.
Take your time.
Okay. The last 48 hours I have a halfway decent memory of. My wife, by that point, was already killed, and whenever I would come to, he would mutilate one of my children. One by one, they slowly succumbed to their injuries. First Jalen, then Marcus, then little Michelle.
So sorry.
I can't describe exactly what he did to them, but imagine the most slow and horrible death someone can be subjected to. Stephen would operate with a surgeon's level of precision. My injuries amounted to permanent vision loss in one eye, 7 pulled teeth, and my right hand severed. I don't know why he chose to spare me, if he thought life would be more suffering than death after my family was gone. But I believe it was him who tipped off the police about where I was being held. They raided the building, a basement of a warehouse on the Willamette River. Unfortunately, he is believed to have fled the state, and his meticulousness of every preparation and action he took meant there was no physical evidence linking him to these grotesque acts. There was barely a footprint of him even existing. It's made me question every interaction I had with him, looking at how he went about his day, how he made transactions, how he disguised his intent so well until the night of my family's abduction. He's, in my opinion, a psychopath, one of the worst serial killers to have ever lived, and even more terribly, one who may likely never be caught.
Thank you. That is all for this edition of the Stephen Murders this Sunday. A reminder, we will see you again for a special edition of the Stephen Murders this Wednesday, 8/7 Central. I'm Fergus Clydesdale. Good night.